This prophet is a product of the true Temple of Solomon and served under the Coptic royal family during the second dispensation of the religion. His leader is Prophet Peter
I don't
Banks.
get into the whole history because much of that is coming in the future. But I just want to paint a slight narrative. Now, with that being understood, every Coptic church that exists today, you are an offspring of Prophet Cicero. However way you are practicing it today, and however way you understand it, and however way you don't understand it, you are standing on his foundation. For every staff you carry, for every angel you put on, for every cape you wear, for every mantle you put on, for every robe you put on, for everything that you come to know was founded by this prophet. Where did he get this great tradition from? All we know, as is recorded in his booklet, it says that he tracked down the information for 22 years in search of the men of Kim. And through that search, he brought this tradition forward. And he handed down a government in North America to give to a people. And what was his primary foundation of the Universal Prayer House and Training School? He returned us back to the image of God that is in us. That is his foundation. And we find this through the words of I am that I am God. And so he was a great prophet. He did many great works according to the oral tradition. He did many great healings. And he was a very firm and stern prophet. One of the things that the prophet told us many times when he would speak on the great prophet, he would call him the prophet or the old prophet. He said that we couldn't have made it under his foundation because he was a no-nonsense prophet. And so, just to move forward, not to get into the whole history, in which I could be here all night just talking on the prophet and his great works. But we do know that as he ascended back to God, he was one of the greatest leaders that ever walked this earth, if you ask the priests, because he was able to transition and lay down his life before the people. And that's all I'm going to deal with on that part. At a later date, you will hear more about that. Now, to the listening audience who are not Coptic, just follow this and listen clearly. But before he did that, he left the tradition, the Coptic faith, to a particular prophet. That prophet was known as Prophet Peter, who later became King Peter 365 degrees. In him being the one who was verbally before the people, the proclamation was made orally before the temple, before the people at that time, that he would be the one. If you have any questions, see Peter. Peter was given the government. That great prophet established the true Temple of Solomon with the works of his wife, the Kenisipi Queen Capanon, to my teacher, the Imperial Queen Mother Rebecca, and many others who came. And so they established what we know as the true Temple of Solomon, in which I came into the knowledge of this great tradition. So he was an established leader and teacher, as well as a prophet that was trained by the founder, which is Melchizedek, who the people, as my teacher said, they began to call him Melchizedek. And when she would introduce him in class to us, she said, I come to you after the order of Melchizedek, priest of the Most High God. That's how she would do it in class. And so therefore, I honor that same tradition because I am a student of her. And so therefore, he was called many other great titles. Those titles will not be mentioned on tonight, but he was also called many other titles because of his works. And so this brings us to prophet. And Prophet Peter came and did many works. And there came a time, and there's much in between, but I'm not going to deal with all that. The prophet made his transition. And what I'm about to say, this is out of love and out of wisdom. And I pray that you hear with a sincere heart. Now, prophet oftentimes talked about the one coming after him and talked about how difficult it would be for the one coming after him. But he never mentioned a name. There was never a name mentioned of who should be after him. He would always talk in reference there will be one coming. And so because he talked about it, we knew that someone was coming, but we didn't know who. And so therefore, when prophet transitioned, prophet did not hear me clear. Hear me clear. Prophet did not get up in the true temple of Solomon in no time ever and stand a prophet up, a minister up at that time, a prince up at that time, a child up at that time, and said he will be the leader after my absence. Now, to respond to them who have variations of this, they said that the prophet had told them this in private or told them this in many different settings, or someone overheard the prophet tell them that. I don't know if that was said or not, because I only can go on what was said in the public setting. If you ask any of us around who were there, no one can ever bear record or witness that Prophet Peter stood a man up in the middle of the temple, in the middle of the nation, and called the name and said, you are the one that will carry this tradition go forward. He said, before I put it in the wrong hands, he said, I will go to glory and reveal it back to you at a later date. That was the word. So now, that brings us to where we are today. Prophet transitioned and left us in 1989. And I found it difficult at that time because I knew, prophet to me was like a father. And just like we have our natural mother and fathers who we love dearly, and we never envision them leaving us. We always want to see them as they grow, and as we grow older, we want the years and the memories to carry us on. But as a child perspective, looking at the prophet, because again, I grew up under him, I didn't ever see the prophet as leaving us. I just didn't. I mean, you can say I was naive or unrealistically thinking, but as we know, the prophet could have still been here even to this day. There's going to come a time where the prophet would eventually not be able to be here, because the older I get, the prophet would have to live to be 100 or something. If I live to be 70, close to 80, or even into my hundreds, the prophet would have to be in his hundreds. So we knew that as time go on, he would eventually transition. But the prophet still had time that he could have been here with us.